G'day and welcome to some Chillout 3D modeling. I'm Eric, and today I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite types of texturing. It is gradient map texturing, and to show it off I'll be making a sci-fi version of the Lee Enfield Mk6 rifle. As you have already noticed, I'll be making this rifle in a low poly style. This method also allows for an exaggerated texturing method and really emphasizes how simple the textures are. Technically, this isn't fully low poly, as many proper low poly models will try and to use as few polygons as possible. This is slightly different, as I'm using a stylized low poly to exaggerate, make larger polygons and exaggerate the polygons to make it feel low poly whilst using more polygons to do so. It sounds a little backwards, but since it still has not that many polygons, it's still low poly and it looks really nice. This method of texturing involves a pre-made gradient map. This is just a series of various colored gradients that you will use in your model. Usually you'd put a lot more thought into this. I have one that I made earlier that I've got many colors on and I can use across many different models if I see fit. It allows you to not spend that much time on the UV unwrapping, which I know a lot of people really struggle on and dislike due to the monotonous nature of UV unwrapping. I quite enjoy making these Star Wars-esque weapons just through the method that they use, since they start with a weapon that already exists and they just add or remove a couple of things, and it makes it feel completely different. In my case, I do quite a lot of changes, but the general silhouette of the weapon remains the same. Like the main blaster that all the stormtroopers in Star Wars use is a Sten gun from World War II that they've shortened they have the short magazine in that only has a few bullets, that would only hold a few bullets, and then they fold the stock. That's it. That's the gun. And that's what makes it sci-fi. The key changes that I've made to the Enfield is I have removed the front and rear sights and replaced it with a big holographic display. Very, very sci-fi. I've also added another holographic display to the side to display like battery percentage, since, I don't know, it's electric. And then I've also exaggerated the muzzle brake. I think the muzzle, the front of the gun, is exaggerated, slightly flared more than the original. And I've added a few greeblies here and there. And I've also removed the bolt. These all come together to make the gun a little more sci-fi, whilst still retaining the general feel of the Lee Enfield Mk6. Another advantage of the gradient mapping technique is that you get texture as you go, instead of having to only texture at the very end after you've UV unwrapped everything. In this case, you can see as I'm going along here, I'm picking out colors, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, able to experiment really quickly and not have to worry about exporting it, importing it into a different program, all that. Even though that other method is great for high quality textures, this is good for fast and effective models. At this point in the modeling process, I'm rather happy with where I'm at. However, it still doesn't feel quite right, so I'm going through and adding all the various greeblies that I mentioned previously, the little slits in the side of the wood, little rings around the outside of the barrel, and all the bits and pieces that make it feel a little extra sci-fi. I struggled for some reason for quite a bit when trying to make these rings, because I forgot there was a extrude along normals option. I was extruding, deselecting, and then scaling it, but for some reason it was automatically merging multiple of the vertices that were too close together, even though I had the merge vertices option off. I don't know if that was a weird bug with my version of Blender, or if you have any idea, please let me know. As we approach the end of the time lapse, I want to ask if you like watching this so far, feel free to subscribe, maybe like the video. If you like it, you don't have to, but it'll help out a lot. Anyway, let's move on to the final renders. And if you've made it this far, I want to thank you very much for watching. I always have fun making these, and I'll continue to make more in the future. I'll be taking a little break as I go on holiday, and I'll be back in a few weeks. I wish you a good night.